So that word beginning that's used when people say in the beginning in the original language, remember the episode about context, means what you think it means. But when you look at how it's used elsewhere in the book, you'll see that it's used a lot to talk about the first or the best or the ideal or the prototype. You are the prototype. Shout out to 3 Stacks. So later on, when we get to the creation of people, if you were to say that Adam was the first man and Eve was the first woman, you see where I'm going with this. And God uses that whole concept as an entendre when he start talking about Jesus. But I'm getting ahead of myself. When the word says in the beginning, it does refer to time. But when you look at how the word is used elsewhere, y'all remember context clues from back in elementary school? It gives the impression that this wasn't just the start of time, but that it was the ideal or the pinnacle of time. Like this was earth like we ain't never seen it before. But then the next thing it says is that the earth was formless and void. And for most of my life, I read that and just kept on pushing. But fam, if you think about it, that don't make no kind of sense. So God, all powerful, all knowing God, created heaven and earth, and the thing he created came out to be a hot mess. That don't compute, fam. And this kind of stuff is where it becomes important to pay attention to what's actually being said. Otherwise, you'll miss the point. And even if you never say it out loud, you'll be thinking that God don't know what he's doing. A lot of them super duper educated folks will take you deep into some Hebrew to try and sort this out. And I was about to do that, but then something just fell in my spirit. So you see that word was, like the world was formless and all of that. If you look in verse 3, you'll see that God said, let there be light, and boom. So boom, there was light. And so on with all of the other stuff he created. But what I was missing all of them years was the fact that the word was is taking you somewhere. Like if I said, I let my son go swimming in a pool without a diaper and there was turds floating everywhere. You know them turds just ain't appear out of nowhere. It's almost a given that the word was means and then, almost like a sequence of events is implied. So what happened to the heavens and the earth? I don't know. No, literally. I done read the Bible cover to cover in at least 3 different translations and ain't never found the answer to that. That don't mean the answer ain't in there. It almost certainly is. I just ain't never found it. And that's okay. A lot of folks try to piece together what they think might have happened and then they teach it as true. But I'd be a fraud if I did that just to make y'all think I had all the answers. It's some questions you're gonna run across in this book that you're not gonna find no easy answers for. Not a lot. And never the big ones. Those got answers. They just the answers that most folks don't want to hear. But when you come to questions that you can't find answers to, you got 3 options. Tell yourself that what is said ain't really what it means. Say it don't matter. Presume the answer in there somewhere. Write it down and be like, I'm gonna need some help on this one. Obviously, the decision you make is between you and God, but I recommend being careful with option 1. If you do that enough, you will get to the point where you don't believe nothing in here because it's all just up to interpretation. What's wrong with it being up to interpretation? That's actually an excellent question. So picture, you got a new job and decide you don't want to pay no taxes. So you tell them folks you got buku kids. They ain't gonna take no taxes, but eventually, Uncle Sam gonna send his goons to find out what you did with his money. If you tell them folks you don't believe in taxes, you think they just gonna be like, oh, my bad. I'll let Sammy know. Nah, it's gonna be cuffs and conversations about long jail sentences until you run that man his tax money. You ever seen a little kid that don't know what gravity is? And then they get Devo slammed by gravity? What? I could laugh. I got a kid that's still happening to. The point is that all actions got consequences. Whether they quick, like falling out the bed after I done told you 1,000,000 times to stop jumping in that doggone bed, or delayed, like getting fed time for tax evasion. And that's the truth. And truth is the issue. You can't say everything is up for interpretation because eventually the truth gonna show up and put your interpretation to the test. So whatever you choosing to believe, you need to make sure that what you believe in is true. You don't want to be in the wrong corner when truth jump in the ring and start body slamming folks. So next week, we're gonna pick up the pace a little bit and move on to the 6th day when God created people. Because that's the most important part of the story, right? It's all about us. Wait till y'all find out that it ain't all about us. But other than that, I'll see y'all next week. And as always, peace, and I hope y'all people straight.